Yeah, so my name is Elvira Mishra. I'm 24 years old. I am half Indian, half Russian, and I moved to Glasgow to the UK in 2021. I came to the UK because I wanted to study masters here, and I finished my masters now. I finished it in September of 2022, so like 7 months ago. I studied Masters of Science in Serious Games and Virtual Reality, which is a very unconventional subject, I would say. But yeah, it was a fun subject. In general, I love to draw. I'm an artist and a designer by profession, so I consider myself an artist, but I work as a designer right now because it's easier to earn as a designer than an artist. I was born in Russia and I lived there till I was 9. My dad is Indian, so then we shifted to India, and there I lived there all the time until I came to the UK. So most of my school and my undergrad was done in India. I identify ethnically as an Indian person because that's where most of my formative years happened. So my dad went to Russia like before the Soviet Union broke up. So he went to the Soviet Union to study medicine. My dad's a doctor and my mom is a biologist, so they were in a similar field and they met in the university. I'm not really sure how they used to communicate because I assume my dad would be really bad at Russian when he came because he didn't learn it before going, and in Russia they don't really teach English and obviously no Hindi, but they don't really teach English either. So I'm not sure how they communicated initially, but then for me, I was born there, so my first language is Russian. So that's the language which I learned. But when we shifted to India, it was extremely hard for me because I didn't know English or Hindi. So I had to be homeschooled for a year and a half, where I was studying in a Russian school, international school in India, and I had to learn the two languages. And then a year and a half later, I had to rejoin school a grade lower because of my language being not up to par. I think it kind of worked out for my dad because my mom was also from a conservative family. Yeah, so she just complied, and she was a Christian Protestant, but as soon as we moved, she converted to Hinduism and she just followed Hinduism. I myself am an atheist. And that's another thing, like my parents never imposed religion on me. They never forced me to do anything, which is another thing which doesn't happen in India often. Usually religion is taken very, very seriously there. So that's, again, I'm happy about that. I have 3 siblings, I'm the oldest. I have 2 brothers and a sister. The brother after me, he's 10 years younger than me. My sister is 14 years younger than me, and my youngest brother is 18 years younger than me. So I have been away for most of their childhood because I've been an undergrad in a different city. And I actually think my parents raised us pretty similar. My brother wants to be a tennis player, so he plays a lot of tennis. He's 14 right now. And one thing I noticed is my parents had a very different way of raising me as compared to all 3 of them. It's not the girl-boy thing, it's just that all 3 of them are being raised completely different from me. When I was a kid, my parents were really, really strict with me. Even when I was in Russia, I used to do dance, I used to do art, I used to do gymnastics. I was really busy. I had this rule that my parents did where it's so funny and kind of sad when I say these things out loud, but I could only have a snack once a month. Yeah, so that I'm healthy. Like I could have a snack only once a month, one snack. And they did not do that with my siblings. I don't know, maybe my parents grew up because they also had me really, really young. My mom was 19, my dad was 23. So maybe they also just grew up. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really hold it against them. It was hard being mixed ethnicities because the 2 ethnicities that my parents are, they are not similar in any way, and so they connected on the few similarities that they have ethnically, and that's being conservative. Again, like when I was in Russia, kids would ask me like, where are you from, because I look different. And when I was living in India, they would ask me, where are you from, because I look different and I also had an accent. So it felt like I never really was a part of the community. But I like in both countries, eventually I was accepted and I was treated like I'm one of them. But yeah, initially everywhere there is this barrier of she looks different. Yeah. Even though I think I look Indian, but yeah. I think in Russia they cared less because yeah, they just it would be like, oh, she looks different, but after that, after they know that I'm mixed, the conversation's over there and I'm one of them. But in India, being Russian is a negative connotation. Again, I don't really know how to put things in friendly for work terms, but Eastern European women are often escorts in India. Majority of escorts are Eastern European. But my mom is actually Russian and she's not an escort, you know. So there is this whole connotation, especially when it wasn't as bad in school. One, because I was in a girls' school. Two, because we were just children. But when I went to university, guys in college had a very, like, the first perception is like, oh, she's Russian. I get that sexual label on me, you know. The Indian beauty standard is to be white. The lighter the color of your skin, the more, that's so messed up to say, the more attractive you are regarded as. And there are many people with very dark skin in India as well. Even to like a few years ago, there were ads, like there are products in India and it still works it's the same product, just been renamed due to it being cancelled recently. It's called Fair and Lovely. So basically it's a cream which lightens your skin, and it's so huge in India, huge billboards, huge advertisement campaigns where they show this girl and she's first dark skinned and she gets lighter and lighter with usage of that cream. I don't want to say this, but it kind of benefited me because I'm mixed. So like my dad is dark, but my mom is Russian, so she's super white, and I got that from her. Yeah, I meet that beauty standards. So it has affected me positively because I never had to worry about that aspect of being looked down upon because of my skin color in India, where people don't get jobs or don't get respect because they are dark skinned. And the thing is, like in India, majority of people are dark skinned, so it doesn't make sense. The past few years, like 5-6 years, there's been much more reform in those terms where they're like, accept your natural skin color, this is how you are, and you look beautiful. Like Indian women look beautiful with their natural skin color, and they canceled this product. It has been renamed. They cancel, and now they say it brightens your skin. It doesn't lighten, it brightens. Yeah, so I think there has been, and there are some public figures as well who are publicly dark skinned and they're proud of it and they promote the awareness about it. So I think there is reform happening, but I think it'll take some time, because like even now if you ask like a guy what is your type, they'll say a fair girl majority of the time. I love India, but every country has their own political issues, right? Especially developing countries. And after we shifted, I realized that women's rights in India are really, really bad. I wouldn't say women's rights are good in any place. And I think there is much to improve everywhere. Like even if you think of developed countries, as you say, like the UK or the US, there is a lot of issues there as well. But in India, a lot of women have to strive for like what other women don't have to in other countries. There the patriarchy is still very rampant, and there if you speak up against the patriarchy, you are not listened to, you are diminished, you are scrutinized by the society. So that's because I'm a girl. Maybe if I was a guy, like a boy, when I shifted, I would have had a different experience. I was a normal child in Russia. Like I could go out to play, I could do everything, but when I shifted to India, I shifted to a very small city in India. And small cities in India are conservative. And so it was like I couldn't go out because my dad was like, it's dangerous to go out because you're a girl. So, and I had no male friends. I was not allowed to have any male friends. And that was a big culture shock. He definitely was more liberal than the rest of the community. But because some men in Indian community are quite extreme, like they don't let their girls still have education. And even if they allow them to go to school or even to the university, they're like, once you're done with your education, you have to get married to with an arranged marriage. Like you don't choose who you get married to. My dad is not that way, but he still was very wary of the society. So he wanted me to make sure I comply with the societal standards of women anyway. So, but yeah, he never really put constraints on me. Like he wanted me to be successful. That's what I love about my dad. Like he did not raise me in a sense like other people raise some girls in India where the whole point of their life is to get married to a man. My dad raised me as an individual, which I'm really, really like grateful. Yeah, and it's kind of sad to say that I'm grateful because this is what is supposed to happen. But yeah, I have my friends from my undergrad who are like struggling because their parents just don't let them do anything because they're girls, and they have dreams, but they cannot even like they don't have any support from their parents. And in India, it's also harder for women to find jobs, so there is no way they can do anything, you know. Also because of the population, I think we are the most populated country now. Yeah, it's really hard to get jobs anyway, like even if you're not a girl. And it becomes really difficult when girls don't have support from their families for them to achieve things. We are moving in between Glasgow, but that's exciting. When we got our keys yesterday, we were all so excited, both of us. We have lived technically, so she was in my student accommodation in the flat next to me. So technically, I guess yes, I've been living with her all this time while I was in Glasgow, so I know her really well. I would say she's my best friend here, so I'm really happy that we are moving together again. The thing is, I don't really want to live in Glasgow. I just have to because that's where I have my job right now. I work for the University of Glasgow right now as a UX designer. It's nice. Like I wake up and I do my work from home. So I do like my designs at home. I go out with my friends sometimes. But yeah, I don't really do much activities. I have a YouTube channel, so I usually film YouTube videos when I know I'm gonna do stuff. I really love working here because here you have minimum wage. You don't have that in India. When I worked in India, I've had people pay me like 80 rupees, which is like 80 cents for a painting. So yeah. So here you don't have that issue. And also here the work culture is much more systematic and healthier. In India, it's like you're expected to go far and beyond just for a basic salary. Like you're expected to work 12 hours, 14 hours a day to get basic salary. And if you don't do it, you're lazy. It's really hard to find jobs, especially if you are on a visa. And I've been looking for jobs all over, like even Europe, even India, but I haven't found a new job yet. So yeah, it's very tedious. I don't know if it's just because the jobs I'm looking for are also very specific, because I look for game design and VR design and UX design jobs, and they are a little more niche than something else. And I think I'm making excuses, but that's what I'm telling myself, because it's been like I've been applying since October and I haven't had a different job yet. But all of the job applications, like one of the first fields that they want to know is whether you are on a visa and whether you would need sponsorship. And I do, And I think that's a very big factor why companies don't give jobs to people like us. I mean, like, because all of my other friends are also in the same boat. All of us are looking for jobs and are unable to find them. I know a few people who got jobs but not in the UK. I have a friend, he got a job in Saudi. Yeah. It is one thing that is always on my mind because, as I said, I'm on a visa and the visa is limited, and unless I get a working visa, I will have to move back. And that's the reason why I always look for jobs in India as well, because if I find a good opportunity there, I don't mind moving. As long as I am away from my parents' city and I can sustain myself, it's fine with me. Unassemble it.
Yeah.
We tried, yes. Yeah, the lock. Oh, he's inside. Thank you. I don't know how to describe it in a better way, but I think Glasgow is boring compared to India. India is exciting, yeah, in both good and bad ways, but it is exciting. My first impression when I came to Glasgow, like for the very first time, was it's so quiet here. Like it feels like there is no sound here, like on the streets. Yeah, that felt strange. The first 6 months that I came here, I was very lonely because I am also a reserved, I guess that could be the result of just my upbringing as well, but I'm a reserved and introverted person, so it's really hard for me to make new friends at first. So for the first 6 months, even though I lived in a student accommodation where a lot of things happen all the time, I was lonely and I missed all of my friends and my family there. But I recently, not recently, but like a few months ago, thought of this thing again when I was going through a low point in my life, was that even if I don't have anyone with me or I don't have any friends, I still have things that I enjoy doing, like art. It was hard for me at first to build a community here and meet new people. Most of my friends are Indian here as well. I think it's just easier to connect with people from your own country, and most of my friends are artists as well, so it's all the people who have similar interests, similar life experiences. I have tried interacting with people from all over. I have tried dating people from different places, but I don't know, the thing which I noticed was, since we do not have the similar life experiences, they do not connect with me. Like, especially in terms of dating, I realized that I cannot connect to a deeper level with people from, for example, from the UK, because they just don't get it. I don't know how else to describe it. They just don't get it how I have lived. I think I connect with Asian people in general, like that part of the world, but people here have a completely different outlook on life and work and hard work and aspirations. Not to say that it's wrong, it's just different. And I realized that it doesn't mesh with how I am. And I've talked to other Indian people, my friends, and they agreed. Like, they said that they find that as well, is that we don't have similar outlook on life in general, because we have seen a very, I don't want to say primitive, like, you can have a slower paced life here, but in India you always need to hustle to achieve something. Like, you always need to strive to be best of all to achieve, like, and if you slack, it's over. It's that kind of mentality, and that's the kind of mentality just is ingrained in me now. And when I see people, when I meet with people here, I don't really have to talk much about with them, because they just have their general hobbies. Again, it's fine and it's their life, and my life is the way it is. But yeah, all my life it was like, you have to achieve this, you have to achieve that, you have to achieve this, you have to achieve this in order to be comfortable. That's the thing. Here you can be comfortable even if you are living a slow paced life, but in India you really need to work hard to just be comfortable, to just have a normal life. And yeah, I feel so. And like, I came here, and international students have to pay a huge fee to come here to study. And that pressure is also on me, that I invested, and now I need to get a result back from that. So it's always on my mind. It's, at least for my friends, it's very similar, where it's a lot of pressure, parental pressure, societal pressure, their own self-inflicted expectations on them. Again, I think it's a little easier on the men, because for females there is additional pressure of, if you go back, you will have a bad life. And it's like, for example, for me, I can speak for myself, like if I go back unsuccessful, I can go back to do something, that's fine. But if I go back just, if I am not able to sustain myself here, my parents will be like, now we will control your life because you couldn't do it yourself. Wherein men don't have that in India. Like they are given that leeway that, yeah, you have some time to figure yourself out, but women don't get that. I think for majority of my thinking, I am very, very liberal, and I would raise my child to be whatever they want to be, do whatever they want to do, and accept everyone and let everyone be happy. That would be my stance. If I think about me being conservative, I guess it would be like, in terms of dating, I like when a guy takes care of me, but not to the point where he's controlling me. I'm still my own person, but like I like that dynamic. But I still want to do my own thing. If I feel that there is some kind of control, that is definitely a no. A few generations ago, or even if in my parents' generation, it was a mandatory norm to get married for a female to be a part of the society. Otherwise, something is wrong with her. And so they had to settle for people which would not make them happy or treat them in a disrespectful way. I've seen it a lot. Yeah, and I don't want to do that. And I think other women have also realized that, and since we are in the age where women are getting more power and more self-authority, they're realizing that they want to be with someone who disrespects them or who doesn't meet their needs. That's why in India also people don't want female to have their own agency, because they will realize this and stop marrying men who otherwise would never find a partner. Yeah, I think even I feel like I don't think I'm gonna marry unless I find someone who is. I would never be with a man just to be in a relationship or proceed to marriage or have children. I would rather not than be unhappy, and I feel like that's what most women are doing. Yeah. So in 10 years, I want myself to have created something, not entirely because of fame, but for self-fulfillment. I think I'm the kind of person who really likes to have results. I have set certain goals for myself, and it's not necessarily that I have to achieve those particular goals, but I really want to have something built or created around me or by me, which I can say is significant, basically. Yeah, I am open to moving back to India because I think I can start something there. Like, I want to make a change. Like, I have been considering doing a PhD, and I have a project, and I thought it would be better to make that project in India. I think what my vision is, I would want to start a studio where mostly women are there, like a gaming or an animation studio. Because even here, I recently conducted this workshop with a place that I work at, and when I told my course, after the workshop, a man came up to me and was like, I have never seen a girl in gaming before. And that is so untrue. It's 2023, but yeah, even this man is like, I've never seen a girl in gaming before, and this was in the UK. So in India, it's again much worse. And having, I think, creating a platform like that for people in India, I think would be nice. Even animation in India, everything in India is like 2 decades behind. So I think it would be a good place to start there. Like I know in Scotland at least, or maybe it's a UK thing, but there is a convention and a society called Women in Games, which I'm a part of, but there's nothing like that in India. I know like a few years ago they started an animation guild and 95% of the members are males. There are a few women there, but 95% of them are males. And most Indian artists as well are famous artists are males. So I just think giving a platform for female artists is what I want to do. Indian artists is what I want to do eventually. I'm an anxious person, so I get anxious over a lot of things. But when I think about my biggest fear, I don't want to regret things. I usually, so far in my life, don't really regret doing anything. I think I've done everything the way it should have been done, or the way that I think it fell into place. And I don't want to make a mistake which I would regret later. I read a lot. So recently, I've read in my library. It's a book about how no matter what you do in your life, you should be happy with the life that you're living for and the life that you're living in, because everything that you do happens for a reason, and you can make the most of your current life. So basically, this girl, she is very, very unhappy with her life, and she tries to kill herself. And then she is taken to a library where, like in her subconsciousness, where there are lots of books, and all of those books are the possibilities of her life if she changed one choice during her life. And she basically, oh, what if I did this? I would definitely have a better life. That's what she always thought before she killed herself. Or what if I did that instead? I've ruined my life, right? And yeah, so she goes through these books, and when she opens a book with a regret, she goes into that life. And she realizes that every book that she opened, she was still unhappy with that life. And the more she went into these different versions of her life, she realized that the original life that she lived in was the best life that she could have. Yeah. I think it's going to sound very silly and cliche, but like, just do whatever you feel like if it doesn't hurt other people, and be happy. Just be happy. That's it.